Hello and welcome to the first of its kind. If anyone should be blamed, it should be Ven for making me do voiceover for this video. This commission was a little rough, or at least this part of the commission was a little rough, mostly because I kind of messed up the planning phase. The Phoenix was, of course, supposed to be, or at least in the book sense, the Phoenix was basically supposed to be an aspect of day, and the dragon was supposed to be an aspect of night. The issue here being that because the Phoenix is a Phoenix, you can't really color it any other color other than the colors of fire, which would be, you know, orange, reds, yellows, and stuff. I added a kind of purple because it's not literally fire, it's also a bird, right? So shadows and stuff. As the light is kind of reflecting off of the dragon, I kind of got a little bit lost along the way because I was like, wait, so the dragon's supposed to be an aspect of night. What kind of colors can I use? I can't just use blues, purples, and dark blues and stuff, because then it kind of gives the image kind of like a imbalance issue, because then you've got one side that's like completely light, and then you've got another side which is, you know, darker. And, you know, our eyes kind of tend to draw towards focal points, right? And Phoenix being the way it is a bright creature, and therefore your eyes are naturally drawn towards the Phoenix. So, trying to spend so much time trying to figure out ways to highlight the dragon more, trying to make it stand out a bit more. So you can see in the background now, I'm kind of like doing different things using gradient mapping, and just like, man, why isn't it working? And then I was trying to do bounce lighting at this stage, which really shouldn't be done because you haven't even laid down the base colors for the dragon. So I wasted a lot of time kind of like going through the motions and trying to figure out, maybe if I did internal lighting, maybe if I did rim lighting going on, and I was like, it's not really feeling it. Around here, I decided to try putting on like markings on the dragon, but something didn't feel right still, because it's mostly comes down to the fact that the base colors weren't right. And because I already fully rendered the Phoenix, it kind of gives off a kind of strange imbalance on its own as I'm working on it, because I'm like, something's not right here. And that's mostly because the Phoenix is fully rendered and the dragon is not. It's still in its flat color stage. I think most of the problem comes from the fact that I didn't render them both at the same time, so that means they weren't advancing at the same stage. So I had one Phoenix that was constantly drawing my attention. It's like, the Phoenix is like fully rendered, and the dragon's like on its way to be rendered, and I was like kind of getting lost in all this. At this point, I was still trying to figure out how I was going to do the lighting, and kind of gave it a rest for a few days after that. Just trying to figure it out in the background, trying to think of new ways. I went and did some more of my own studies just to make sure I got things right. And then I went to review the Phoenix video, and I realized that I'm missing the fundamental technique, or rather the fundamental process for my work. And so here I've already started all this from this point forward. By the way, it's all on live stream, so you're going to see chat pop up once in a while. The fundamental thing that I missed here was the fact that when I did the Phoenix, I did the grayscale rendering first. So basically highlights, shadows, and little light details here and there. And I did that for the Phoenix, but I didn't do that for the dragon. In fact, I just went straight into color, which was, I think, probably because I'm not at the stage where I can completely comprehend what colors to use exactly, especially considering it's a different character altogether and they're kind of interacting with each other, right? So I decided, okay, if the process before worked, I guess I should do it again and see if I can get a better result. So far as I'm doing this, and from what I can recall, as I'm working on this and adding the actual details, detailing, lighting details and those kind of things, there's a specific word for it. Look, I'm not studied in this, so someone can probably give me the word, but basically I'm just adding details using shadows and lights, and it's turning out better than expected. In fact, I was quite happy with it. So then I decided to jump straight into gradient mapping. So I use gradient mapping mostly because it's a lot easier. If you ask me, if you're a new artist, I probably would not recommend you using this as a shortcut, mostly because color theory is something you need to kind of work your way up. I'm not at a stage where I have mastery of color, but the fact is I know kind of what balances out. So oranges and purples, blues and greens, etc., etc. From here, I tried to figure out a way to keep the aspect of night thing going. And I thought, okay, first maybe it would be more shadowy and stuff. But along the way I thought, okay, night. What comes out at night? Well, the stars do. You get to see, if you do astronomy, you get to look up and then say, oh, okay, you get to see the galaxy, you get to see stars. So I thought, okay, so what if, instead of it being just like, oh, aspect of night, shadow, death, smoke, I made it into a crystallized kind of creature with stars in his body, like basically a hint of the galaxy riding with him. So it's, it gives more of a night feel to it. At least I hope so, because the other way it could be taken is like, a space dragon, I suppose. Now that I think about it. Here I'm carving out the details of the dragon and kind of, lighting it a bit, just trying to figure out where I want certain things to be. And I quite liked the underside glow, whatever, for the rim lighting. So I quite like the rim lighting I did previously, and decided to bring it back in here again, and then work in different colors. It was also probably because the dragon had, it had things on it, right? So it had this blindfold on it, and then it had the straps coming down, and I was like, okay, how am I gonna kind of work the colors in without throwing the dragon off balance? And I decided, okay, so it's going to be kind of reminiscent of the Phoenix, so it's going to be like kind of reddish, kind of orangey, at least for a start. And that's how we got here right now. From this point forward, it's just mostly detailing, it's just mostly me going through the process of like changing his color, modifying his color, contrast, and kind of just fixing a few details here and there. I haven't gone into full like crystallized mode yet, so that one takes a while. I was trying to give the dragon a bit more of a form, and I think I'm pretty sure I remember that I remodified the snout after that, because I didn't like how it kind of like looks too muscly. It's too muscly, whereas the rest of him looks more crystallized. So I decided to kind of just keep testing it, keep checking my progress as I went along. I removed the third horn because along the way when I was doing this commission, the commissioner asked me, "Oh, hey, is there a third horn?" And I'm like, no, that's kind of supposed to be the other sides of the head. Then I realized, yeah, perspective wasn't working, so I decided just to remove the horn altogether. It looks a lot better without it anyway. At this point, I'm adding the shadows to the dragon. Normally, people would recommend, like, if you want to do contrast, you would have your shadows will be the opposite. For example, if you have warm lighting, you have cooler shadows. So that means if you have an orange light, you generally have bluish shadows. The problem here being that this dragon's base color is already blue, and the lighting in this situation was coming from the Phoenix, which is orange. So you have to follow the rules of kind of have to follow the rules of lighting, because now the phoenix is casting a orange light, so the shadows has to remain cool. And generally, because the dragon's already purple, you can't go much cooler than that without kind of throwing off everything. So I just decided, okay, I'm just gonna dip down the purple, make it a little bit more saturated, and just kind of go with it. So far so good, I think. Decided to try out adding stars to his body, but I kind of thought it was a bit too messy, so I killed the opacity on it like crazy. And apparently I was on a food break for a long time. Well, it's actually 5 minutes, but yeah. Just adding more details to the dragon as I'm going along. Unfortunately, I did not record the part where I made this into an actual book cover, because that was, that one had the commissioner with me most of the time, so lots of details to discuss, and couldn't bring it out for the public viewing. As I was adding the lighting, or the rim lighting for the tail, I decided, or at least rather I thought something was missing. So I kind of like, yeah, I'll get back to it later. I will get back to it later. And I kind of just went back to start, continue working on the fur, continue working on the details of the dragon's body instead. And also checking chat, because I was getting tired by then. Removed a bit more details, sharpened the back straps, I suppose. At first I was thinking, okay, so they would be kind of straps, and then after a while I was like, nah, I think they look pretty good as part of the body. So I just gave it kind of a metallic feel to it for, I don't know, I just thought it would look cool, right? And isn't that what art is supposed to be? If it looks cool, just try it out. Here I was working on the muzzles again, because I was like, I'm not too happy. It looks too muscle, it looks a little bit too organic back then with all the wrinkles and stuff. So I decided, okay, I'm just gonna leave it. I'm gonna modify it and kind of smoothen it down again. Checking chat again. Replaying Final Fantasy 15. As we're nearing the end of this commission, I was basically just thinking, okay, the tail looks kind of bland, so I'm just gonna add a bit of shards here and there. And as I'm adding the shards, I'm like, they're a bit too constrained. I thought, okay, it'll be a good idea later, because I wanted to finish it first and show it to the commissioner. I thought it would be a good idea later to kind of break up the tail a bit, to give it kind of a shatter effect. And I did that much later, but for now I just kept going back and forth trying to figure out where I want to add details. I normally would not recommend over detailing things, because generally if people look at something, they will look at it once, they'll see the details once, and when they look at it again, it's just, it's there. They wouldn't really stare at the details. So over detailing is not actually a good idea, but it's something I find fun, so I just decided to do it. That's mostly because it's fun for me. Decided to kind of add a bit of like flamey stuff to him as well, or at least a bit more shatter effect kind of thing, because I wanted to kind of balance out the phoenix as well. The phoenix had a lot of like fluff going on around him, so I decided, okay, maybe the dragon needs that as well, just kind of give the image a bit more, a bit more of a kick. And here I was already breaking up the tail a bit, just trying to make sure it looks good. So I zoom out, zoom in, flip it over, etc., etc. made some more changes to the color, and we're on the home stretch right now. So here I was just basically messing with the levels, messing with the contrast for both images, try to balance out the colors a bit, giving it more or less stable colors to make them look like they belong in the same image to each other. Yeah, and that was basically my process for Dreamscape Infinity. This is kind of a new format. I don't think I'll do this very often because this is really weird for me. But thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time as I make more of these. Goodbye.